What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Primetime Sports Podcast, hosted by Joey May Larry. So tonight is the Patriots' first preseason game of the season. They are facing the Houston Texans at home tonight at Gillette Stadium at 7 o'clock. I'm going to give you a preview of the game and then give you guys a list of players to watch out for on the Texans and the Patriots. And then I'll give you a prediction at the end of the quick episode here for who I think is going to win the game. I'll start off with the big news over the last couple of days, and that's the Houston Texans announcing that rookie quarterback C.J. Stroud will be making his first start in the NFL and make his NFL debut at Gillette Stadium tonight. DeMeco Ryans, the head coach of the Houston Texans, said it a couple days ago that C.J. Stroud is expected to play, so it makes sense getting him some NFL action, letting him see what it's like to be in an NFL game, get live, real reps, and also get some chemistry with his receivers. He's a great playmaking quarterback with an elite arm. I'm excited to see him ball tonight. He's going to have a very good future in the NFL. Definitely a guy to keep your eye on in tonight's game. As for the Patriots, it doesn't look like any starter is going to play. Bill Belichick did say, I don't know, when he was asked if Mac Jones is going to play or not. I doubt Mac Jones, along with all of the Patriots' major starters, are going to play in tonight's game. I think some rookies are going to play, like Christian Gonzalez, first-round pick out of Oregon in this year's draft. I think he's a guy that could play tonight to get him some live reps in the NFL and get him acclimated to the game. But I don't think Mac Jones, Matthew Judon, or Christian Barmore are going to play in tonight's game. It just wouldn't make sense with the Bill Belichick way of playing those guys in the first preseason game of the year. Mac Jones and Bailey Zappi have been a hot topic of discussion during the Patriots training camp. Yet again, another season where it's Bailey Zappi versus Mac Jones, just like last year. As of now, I think Mac Jones is the starter. I think he should be. I think he deserves it. It is his job to lose, though. With that being said, the Patriots open up at home against the Eagles and the Jets, then play the Dolphins and the Cowboys. That's a tough four-game stretch to start the season. If the Patriots are 0-4, which is a chance they could be 0-4 in those four games, the Eagles were a Super Bowl runner-up last year. The Jets are going to take a big step up this year. I think the Dolphins are going to be really good. And the Cowboys were very good last year as well. The Patriots could easily be 0-4 in those first four games. And if Mac Jones is turning the ball over and not looking good in those four games, he easily could be flipped to the backup quarterback, and Bailey Zappi could be the starter at that point. That's a tough four opponents there to start the season with. That's why I think there is a chance that Mac Jones could struggle to begin the year. I think if you look at it, though, I think Mac Jones deserves to be the starter considering how good of a rookie season he had. And then last year with Matt Patricia and Joe Judge as his leaders on the offense, especially with the inept wide receiver room and also not really a great offensive line, it was tough for Mac Jones really to figure things out last year. And now he has a great offensive coordinator, Bill O'Brien, a guy that was his offensive coordinator at Alabama and has had great success in the NFL in directing offenses. I think Mac's going to have a good year, but I think the Patriots as a team struggle this year. But it's going to be a lot better on offense, I think, this year with Juju Smith-Schuster and also adding in a guy like Mike Gesicki, a tight end. Even though he really hasn't done too much in training camp, he is a good tight end that can make plays for you, especially in the red zone. Now you have Bill O'Brien calling plays for you rather than Matt Patricia and Joe Judge. I think Mac Jones will have a better year this year. There is a lot of pressure on him, though, to figure things out and get himself back on track. I think when you look at Bailey Zappi and his success last year, I think it was really just because of the minimal expectations around him last year. Everybody expected more of Mac Jones. Then when Mac Jones goes down and gets hurt, Patriots fans just clinged on to the Zappi hype because it was the fun and easy thing to do. Everybody wants to root for that underdog backup quarterback like Tom Brady and see a guy flourish as a backup and then become the starter. I just don't think that's really the case with Bailey Zappi. I think he's a solid backup quarterback. I think Mac Jones should be the starter for this team, though. And another thing you have to take into account there with Bailey Zappi is that last year when he did step in, like I said, there was minimal expectations around him. You got to also factor in he didn't play that many great opponents last year when he did step in. The pressure wasn't as heavy on him as it was for Mac Jones. Mac Jones gets back from an injury there on the Monday Night Football game against the Bears. He's struggling, and everybody's yelling, Zappi, Zappi. Everybody was just going against Mac all last year, so it was easy for him to get in his head. I still believe Mac Jones should be the starter on this team. I think he's going to have a good season this year. I just think the Patriots as a team struggle this year. If I'm picking between Zappi and Jones, I think Jones is the better answer there between the two of them. As for players to watch out for in tonight's game, starting off with the player I've just mentioned now 100 times in the episode, Patriots backup quarterback Bailey Zappi, who will be getting reps in tonight's game. All eyes are going to be on him with the quarterback controversy rumors from training camp. In his 4 games he played in last year, he had 5 touchdowns and 3 picks, averaging 195 pass yards per game. He also had 10 rushes for no yards. Not really much mobility at all for Mac Jones or Bailey Zappi. I think Zappi, no matter what he does in tonight's game, he's going to grab headlines just because everybody loves a quarterback controversy to follow during training camp. Whether you're a Patriots fan or not a Patriots fan, everybody loves to follow a quarterback controversy in training camp because obviously it builds up the pressure and the tension getting towards the regular season. As I said, though, I'd side with Mac Jones or Bailey Zappi. You shouldn't see Mac Jones play tonight. Bailey Zappi will be getting reps, though. Another player to watch out for the Patriots is Patriots wide receiver / quarterback Malik Cunningham, who is an electric athlete, played his college football at the University of Louisville. I was a big fan of him in college. Electric quarterback at Louisville. In 5 seasons, he had 50 rushing touchdowns to go along with 70 passing touchdowns with 29 interceptions. He was one of the most electric quarterbacks I've ever seen in person, and I've been a fan of him since my freshman year at BC in 2019. I followed him every single step of the way from 2019 to now. I think he could be a very good player in the NFL. He's been getting a lot of reps at wide receiver in training camp, but there is some noise about him potentially getting snaps tonight at quarterback under center since he has played a little bit of quarterback over the last few days in practice. The Patriots signed him after the NFL draft when he was an undrafted free agent, and they gave him $200,000 in guaranteed money, which is actually the second most money the Patriots have ever given out to an undrafted free agent ever, which is very impressive. Cunningham signed a 3-year deal with the Patriots as an undrafted free agent with $200,000 guaranteed. As I said, he's probably going to play a little bit of quarterback tonight. I think he's got to keep your eye on. I think he could be a good wild card to make the Patriots roster for this season. I think if you look at it, this is a typical Bill Belichick guy, a guy that plays quarterback in college, like Julian Edelman. Then they somehow find a way in the NFL as a wide receiver. And even though Malik Cunningham and Julian Edelman are very different players, Malik Cunningham has a lot of speed. I think he could even potentially be a backup quarterback in the NFL. I still think he's good enough to be a quarterback in the NFL, even as being a backup, even though there's a potential chance he is a wide receiver. I think he'd be a good gadget guy for the Patriots. He's going to be a guy that definitely would grab some eyes at tonight's game. I'm sure they're going to be talking about him on Boston Sports Radio tomorrow, especially if he does have a big game tonight. I do think he's going to make some plays, especially with the speed, agility, and his elusiveness. He could definitely go out there and catch some eyes in tonight's game. So I'm going to switch gears and talk about the Texans really quick and some guys to watch out for them. Obviously, C.J. Stroud, the second pick in this year's draft out of Ohio State. Really good quarterback. He's a guy to keep your eye on. I've already mentioned him. Next up is Texans wide receiver Tank Dell, who is another rookie here in the Texans offense. He had 29 touchdowns in his last 2 seasons for the University of Houston. Now he's on the Houston Texans, so he's not really going too far down the road. He's a shifty receiver who finds ways to get open with his speed and agility. Definitely would catch eyes in tonight's game. Texans defensive end Will Anderson, yet again another rookie on this team, was the 3rd overall pick out of Alabama in this year's draft. Premier pass rusher, had 17.5 sacks as a sophomore in 2021, then 10 sacks as a junior in 2022. He will definitely be a playmaker in the NFL, especially for this Texans team that needs help on defense. He's going to be making plays right away for them to make a difference. That was a great addition there to them on defense. If you look at their draft overall, they had a very good draft. Very good last 2 drafts, honestly. Tank Dell, Will Anderson, C.J. Stroud, John Mechie a couple of years ago. They've been doing a lot better in the draft in the last couple seasons than they did in years past. That's obviously one good thing for a team that's rebuilding. When you can really draft guys and build around them, that's obviously huge for a franchise in their development. And the Texans were really fearless in this year's draft. They took C.J. Stroud, the 2nd overall pick, which was a great pick in my opinion. I think C.J. Stroud deserved to be the 2nd overall pick, and I think he'd be the best quarterback in this year's draft. But then they also traded up to the 3rd overall pick and got Will Anderson. So they made a mock and said, hey, we know we have a ton of future draft picks. Let's go up and get a premier pass rusher with the 3rd overall pick. And they do just that. Having 2 top 3 picks for a team that's rebuilding, that's obviously a great start for a team and to try to build their future, obviously, the right way. So another player to watch out for the Texans is wide receiver John Mechie, who will make his NFL debut tonight after missing all of last season with leukemia. He's now going into his 2nd year in the NFL, but he's really a rookie since he didn't play last year at all. It'll be great to see him back out there, obviously. A great story making it back on the field after battling against leukemia for the last year. He's a playmaker that can definitely make big plays for this Houston Texans offense. I'm sure John Mechie will have great chemistry right away with C.J. Stroud. He was great at Alabama. It was a 3rd-round pick in the 2022 NFL Draft. Now gets a chance to showcase his talent, and this will be a start to his career tonight against the Patriots. And the last guy I'm going to mention is Patriots cornerback Christian Gonzalez, who they took in the 1st round in this year's draft out of Oregon. Could have ended up being a top 8 pick, and no one would have said anything about it. But he somehow falls to 17 to the Patriots, and now is their cornerback 1 on the depth chart. I think he's going to be a very good cornerback for this Patriots team. They needed help in their defensive backfield, especially considering they have a lot going on, obviously, off the field with Jack Jones. They lost Devin McCourty. They need help in that defensive back room, and I think Christian Gonzalez will make a difference right away. He's going to have a big matchup right away, whether it's against John Mechie or Nathaniel Dell. Both of those guys are very good receivers. I'm excited to see that matchup tonight between Gonzalez and Dell or Gonzalez and Mechie. So now for my predictions, I'm going to say it's going to be a close game. It should be a fun one to watch, especially if Malik Cunningham gets reps at quarterback. I would love to see Malik Cunningham get reps at quarterback. I think he could definitely make a difference for this Patriots team, especially with his speed. Even if he's not a quarterback for this team, even as a wide receiver, if they could find a way to use his speed and his elusiveness, that'll definitely make a difference. He's a bigger guy, too. He's 6'3". Definitely could help you out maybe in the red zone if you give him a fade route. I really haven't seen him get any reps at wide receiver. He didn't really do that at all with Louisville. He was really just a quarterback and also could run the ball very well. So he showcased his speed, but never showcased his ability to catch. But I think he can be a very good player for this Patriots team. I think he's going to be a guy that a lot of people are going to fall in love with watching the Patriots in the preseason. As for my predictions in this game, though, as I said, I think it's going to be a close game. I'm going to go with the Texans winning this game 31-27. I think C.J. Stroud shows off his arm tonight a little bit. I think Malik Cunningham could have a good game as well. Maybe run for 30 or 40 yards if he does get the opportunity to run the ball as a quarterback. And the guy I'd say to watch out for the most out of the guys I've mentioned, I'd say is John Mechie. He's been eager to make his NFL debut, and after everything he's gone through over the last year, he's going to be psyched just to be on the field to be able to do big things for that Houston Texans offense. I'm excited to see what they look like tonight between the Patriots and the Texans. It'll be a fun game to watch for sure tonight at 7 p.m. on CBS. Anyways, that'll conclude this episode. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to listen to this. As always, I appreciate it and hope you guys have a good one. Thank you.